Elon Musk talks about nobody ever having to work because every job out there can get replaced by this intelligence in some period of time. 99% of intelligence will be artificial. Q3 was a pivotal moment last year because AI assisted bot came along and got around every fraud solution in the marketplace. There's fraud in every channel. If you're buying on affiliate marketing or programmatic, it's anywhere from 45 to 50% fraud.
All right, let's start with the complaints then, because everybody likes to start with the complaints. What podcast doesn't start with the complaints? We should make that like a thing now. Like, get it right out of the gate, get the people like engaged, be like, oh, what's he got to complain about?
Yeah, I got today's Tuesday? Thursday, I'm going in just to see. I've got prostate cancer, so we're checking in on that.
Oh, so you went with the big one right up front.
I go with a big one.
Like, I was thinking something,
That came from something else because a couple months ago I ended up for open heart surgery. So like, it's not the bigger one of the two, but hey, it is what it is.
Well, all right. Well, now we know what to pray for you about, man. That's a big one. When did this all come about? Was this recent or?
So long story short, I've been exhausted for like the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's gotten a little bit worse. And we were my wife and I were at a business trip in Barcelona, and I didn't want to walk around. I was tired. And that's it. When we get back, we're going to run the gamut of tests. So the first round of tests was with the cardiologist because they figured at my age, my weight, you probably have clogged arteries. It's slowing down the blood flow, blah, blah, blah. We're going to find it. And he said, we got some interesting news. We got good news and bad news. The good news is your veins are perfectly clear. Like it's really clear for your age. Like there's nothing there. There's no blockage, nothing. Here, the bad news, we found an aortic root aneurysm. And I go, what's that? News. The bad news is you need to go under the knife within the next 3 months to get this fixed. This is not emergent, but it's urgent.
Yeah.
So sure enough, so zip it up, take it out, fix it. And then I'm like, okay, on to the next thing. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we have something that we think can fix you're being tired. It'll fix one of your hormones in your body. It'll fix where your child. I'm like, great. Before we do, let's check your prostate. Oh, you got prostate cancer. So we got to deal with that. And because you have prostate cancer, you can't take that. I'm like, back to square one. Still tired.
Wow, dude.
The joys of getting old.
Really well. You're laughing and joking. I'm sure that wasn't the way it's always been, but you're handling it really well. At least it seems.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick funny joke. In the operating room, I ended up with AFib after the surgery.
Yep.
So they had to shock the heart to get it back into a normal rhythm. So I'm sitting in the room and they're like, we're going to knock you out for this because you definitely don't want to be awake when we zap you.
Not a fun thing.
So the nurse that's setting me up, she's reading the directions on where to put the pads. I'm like, now I'm at Penn Medicine. This is like, really good hospital. This is what, I found a doctor that specializes in this. And she's reading the directions. I'm like, okay, sure. She's just looking for, maybe she's just double checking herself on where the placement has to go.
Right.
She puts the pads on and we're getting everything prepped and she's futzing around with the device that does the shocking. And I'm like, I forget what her name was. I'm like, excuse me, miss, but could you not play with that device while I'm hooked up and I'm still awake?
Like, I want my heart to go back in rhythm. I don't want it to stop permanently.
I don't want to be up when this happens.
Right. There's that too. I'm actually familiar with that process. I have atrial fib. I had my first episode when I was 17.
Oh, wow.
Another one in my early 20s. And then I had a long stint where it never bothered me until about 5 or so years ago. I had another episode that put me in the hospital and they were about ready to literally hit me with that. And I think they were doing all the prep stuff and about ready to go and need to do the shake. And like, we're going to knock you out for this. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, go do the rest one more time. Make sure everything's good because you don't want to lose control of yourself. I'm like, okay, awesome.
Nope.
So I get back to the table and right as I hit the table, it stops. And it had been going on for like 2 hours straight. And those of you not familiar, and you felt this, I'm sure, it's 150 plus beats per minute or greater. It's like running a marathon at full cardiac arrest side of running it 150 175 beats a minute. And when you have 2 hours of that, it is literally like running your max for 2 hours straight, which I couldn't do normally, right?
Yeah.
I just pass out.
Most people can't.
No, I don't know a lot of people that can, except that dude that just won that marathon the other day. Did you see him?
No, I did not.
Oh, dude, it was so cool. It's totally side topic, but it made me think of this guy the other day. It's one of those moments where the guy who was winning the marathon, I don't even remember which marathon. Someone can correct me in the show here. But he was right to the end. He thought he had it. And he was kind of cruising in one of those moments and he was just within 100 feet of the line. And here comes this guy in second place and he is just chucking it, man. He's like, I'm going to get there. And just at the last, they had like a 0.01 second difference and he won. Right at the last second, he beat this guy right across the line. And I'm thinking,
you always see those things, never give up.
Never give up. I mean, just pull back just a little bit, just enough to let the guy who just was so motivated to push that last minute, that hard line, he just pushed it so hard. and he got just ahead of this guy and won the marathon. After that guy had cruised the entire marathon, he lost in the last second. He was at the lead the whole time.
Wow.
And just at the last second. And so I was thinking of the race and of heart and, going 150 beats a minute. I passed out like long before that guy, ever made it across the line. And so it stopped. But when I was done, I went to sleep for like 7 hours straight, like right after that day, because I couldn't even hardly move. I was completely out of it. But yeah, those are no fun, man. Well, okay. So now you have to go deal with the whole prostate stuff. Huh?
Yeah.
Prostate?
Well,
prostate. Not prostrate. Yeah, they're going to be prostrate when they go for your prostate.
Yeah. They say if you have to get cancer, if you're going to get it, this is the one to get because it's so.
Oh, really? This is the luxury Cadillac version of cancer. Is that what they tried to sell you on?
Easy one to fix. I'm like, all right, it is what it is. Like, what am I going to do? Let's just get it fixed and get back to why I'm so damn tired.
Well, I'm so glad you got that really good, winner cancer. It's better than the loser cat. You're a winner. Well, dude, that's not what we came here to talk about, but that's an interesting start to the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, it's what we came to talk about everything, though, didn't we, Rich? Because
we talk about it's nothing's off the table.
Nothing's off the table. Nothing's off the table. Well, like, how's this affecting your family?
Well, it's like I said, the open heart stuff was the big one, right? That affected everybody. And then this, none of us are worried about because it's caught early. It's super small. It's, easy to treat. It's like 99.99% success rate. Yeah, it's nothing big. So it's just something I got to deal with. Tomorrow, we're going to find out the stage it's in and then decide the treatment. Some treatments as little as let it be and we'll just watch it. And another one will be, full prostate removal, which they already told me is not the case. In either case, nothing's a problem. So
there you go.
We're not worried about this yet.
Well, then I won't worry about it, but I'll keep you in my prayers because I
appreciate it.
It's still surgery, it's still operations. It's still things that don't always
anesthesia
go the way you want. So we hope for the best, right?
Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Has that affected your business life?
Actually, it taught me something. Okay, so for the last 33 years, I started my first internet digital marketing business in 93.
93. So, you're the old school, man.
So this was before the web browser.
Right, before online, yeah.
You had to be real techie to get yourself around the internet at the time. But when I first learned about it, because it was out, I believe the date that I found is September 1st of 1991 is when the internet got turned over to the public so that we can actually all connect computers and work on it. I found out about it 2 years later because I was in college and, you're focusing on college and everything and not really reading the news and stuff like that. So anyway, I got on, I was like enthralled. I'm like, this is going to change the world. Like this, I want to be part of this.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing this for 33 years and always been a control freak on hands-on everything that I do. Like we're going to use a piece of software. I learn everything about that software before it gets deployed. So I know how it works and all the features and the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
So I've always been like that. And in the last 30 something years, I've created 5 multi-million-dollar web properties, bootstrapping. So I've done that a bunch of times. So I've never been away from my business. So this was, the doctor's like, okay, I need you to pick 3 months where you're not going to be working. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? My wife's like, he's not going to. He's like, look, at the end of the day, you need at least 6 to 8 weeks. Like you really can't, like there's no flying, there's no running, there's no exercise. There's, just taking it easy. Like he said, the first couple of weeks, you're going to be zonked. You're not going to want to. So I'm like, when are you going to do this? So anyway, long story short, I think it lasted about 7 weeks. And that's when I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to the office. And my wife's like, you really should give yourself the 3 months. And I'm like, I'm going out of my mind. I'm watching TV and I'm bored to tears. I need to. So I came to the office. I worked half days in the beginning and I would handle an email, be tired, walked in, lay down on my couch and come back and do another email. And just to get back into the swing of things. But what was important was everything worked great for the 7 weeks I was gone. That was the first time I was like not answering emails, not checking things, not talking to people, just trusting the team. And I know we have a great team behind us and
that's awesome.
It was the first time that I actually had no choice but to trust them to run everything while I was away.
Right.
For that extended period of time.
Pushed in a position, forced to trust. That's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah. I even talk to people like have jobs that, they have people reporting to them like, when I talk about like taking 7 weeks, like I couldn't take 7 weeks off. I'm like, I had no choice. I had to do it. And I proved that I was able to trust my team. That we built a good team, we built good processes, and I was able to do it and take care of my health first before having to come back to the office.
Well, normally they say, take 3 days and see if you can leave your business for 3 days, right? And then once you do that, if everything doesn't fall apart, then see if you can leave for 3 weeks. You probably heard this before, right?
Yeah.
very infrequently do they ever recommend you take 3 months and walk away and see what happens. But when you
I
don't
was
have a
just asked the
choice,
question by a marketing company, could you leave your business for a year?
right?
And I'm like, well, I left for almost 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So let's call it 2 months. Let's 7 weeks. Let's call it 2 months. I left it for about 2 months. Yeah, my team can handle it. Could I handle being away from my business for that long? No.
You're
I
like
don't
me.
even, I know, no.
I'm
Can't do
gonna
it.
die at the wheel because I get bored. I'm not a golfer. I can't if there's not enough things going on during the week, I literally get bored. I have to find something to do,
Mhm.
and it has to be some kind of activity of some kind. And I just can't go sit down and do nothing. I'm gonna just work till I pop. But it doesn't feel like work. Maybe it doesn't for
Yeah.
you. Maybe it does for some people.
No. I like, especially at this stage where I'm not doing the day to day, like, okay, when we first launched the product,
Yeah.
we had no salespeople. Tag, I'm it, right? And I
Right.
sat down there and put out thousands of emails to people that I knew, trying to convince them to use the software, and then finally get the first couple clients, and then you grind it. So, you do that grind in the very beginning when you're trying to get things up and running.
Yeah.
Now I have staff that are doing individual parts. So for me, it's now working on the business. Okay, what's the next big strategic thing we can do to take the company? We grew great last year. Great. How do we double that this year? Like, how do we get, and I'm enjoying that more than I thought I would, which is great.
Yeah.
Because usually, like, in the weeds, talking to clients, I still enjoy that. Still go to trade shows. I still enjoy, I don't do all the trade shows. We have 17 trade shows on our list this year. I think I'll probably do about six of them altogether, because I just have a lot of friends at those
And just like to go
specific
see
trade
and hang
shows.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a break from the day-to-day business, but still get a chance to spend some time with some of the salespeople one-on-one, and go out to a couple dinners and things like that. But yeah, I mean, when that person asked me, "Can I do it for a year?"
No, I do get that. It's tough. And it really depends upon, what your goals are, where you're going, and whether or not you have the right people around you. I noticed you didn't say systems. I noticed you didn't say you were replacing people with AI.
No,
Where's all
no,
that in your headspace? Because that's a big thing right now, of course.
yeah. I mean, it's coming. Elon Musk talks
Definitely.
about, like, nobody ever having to work because every job out there can get replaced by this intelligence, and then he expects in the next, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter, but in some period of time, 99% of intelligence will be artificial.
Yeah. Sounds a little dystopian.
It's coming. Like, not for nothing. Like, I just saw, what was it? And I'm sure it was a deep fake, but the robot that they developed in China, that's got this
I
unique
saw
robot
that.
that they have
I
doing
had the first inclination too.
doing the martial arts, and then they
No,
had,
I saw the one with them making the bed and doing the house cleaning, and the
oh, no,
first
no.
thought was that's deep fake. I'm like, no, that's they can't be there yet. That was my first thought. And I'm like, I grew up in technology like you. I was on a 93 before, we were doing dial-ups and green screens on terminals before you ever had web browsers. So I understand technology and understand its capabilities and how fast it's grown, but part of my brain is not. It's like glitching when I see those things doing what they're doing and going, they can't possibly be doing that already.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because I went to college in 1990, and my first major was robotics engineering. They didn't
That's
call it
something
robotics
fascinating for
engineering
you.
back then. I was accepted at MIT for, they called it electromechanical engineering.
I've heard that. Yeah.
So that was the original. You needed a double degree in both physical and software. So, but back then the technology wasn't at a point that I wanted to work on it. Like, I'm like, it's so far out. Who knows how far it'll take? Here we are now. I'm
Watching
50, 53, and all of a sudden it's out there, and you're looking at some of the demonstrations that are legit, where here's 2024 video of the robot, and they barely can walk, without tripping over their own feet. And now by 2025, they're doing martial arts.
Yeah. In
And I'm
2026,
like,
they're folding beds and doing what appears to be legitimate activities
yeah.
in
The
fluid
one that scared me,
mechanics.
though, the one that scared me was the one from China.
Yeah.
They were doing the martial arts, and then another
The
video.
whole, yeah, they were on the stage. There was like 15 or
Yes.
so of them all doing all in synchronized martial arts. Was that legit?
That supposedly, again, I just, I didn't
Dang.
look it up, but I've been seeing there's other robots that are doing flips and stuff like that. So I believe that to be true. But then there was a video, which I didn't believe, but it's doable, was an army of robots walking with guns. And I'm like, there it is,
Oh.
Skynet. It's coming.
Well, I may have think that may have been a deep fake. I saw a similar one to that, and I think I saw someone else debunking it as a deep fake, which also is scary because the concept is just literally
It's there.
a mile away from the technology. It's not far. And the one where the guy put the petri dish full of brain cells that's now playing Doom by itself.
Oh, I didn't even see that one.
Oh, that's freaky, right? And then they did it with fly brain cells, and then the fly was doing things too, was acting like a fly and moving like a fly, and it was built basically out of a petri dish.
Oh, wow.
So I'm thinking, okay, combine that technology with literal brain cells, and we're like definitely into the Terminator stage of this
Here comes the
game.
Matrix.
Yeah, literal intelligence. And I mentioned this on Facebook the other day. I'm like, guys, be careful how much you're pushing towards AI. It's planned obsolescence, and you're doing it to
Yeah.
yourselves. There was an article earlier, and the guy was theorizing, because it hadn't happened yet, but he was theorizing the concept of knowledge workers, people in jobs, people like I used to do at IBM and things of that nature, training the AIs that will replace them, not human. That thing where you train your replacement and then you get fired. It's no, now you're training the AI systems that literally fire you from the knowledge worker jobs. And Anthropic was touching on some of those jobs here recently in the latest update that they pushed
It's
relative to the
coming.
way those things are training. And you're in software, and we have software we run internally, and I see the evolution and how fast we're making changes to it right now based on Claude Code and other things that I can go in and say, okay, personally, having a background in development, I can move faster than some can because I understand the concepts, even though I haven't been a developer for 20 years. But now that I see what it's doing and know how to make it go, I can vibe code my own apps way all the way through the database logic reason, give it to my developer and say, here, plug this into our app. And so now he's going in and plugging in components of that to harden down skill sets and workflow that's within our business model, the e-com physical product world. And that is just moving faster and faster daily by daily. We're able to code things in complex logic and schemas all the way through the reason, the logic, the UI and UIX levels down to the database level. Yeah, it's crazy. You're doing some of that, I suppose.
We trusted the development to our team because they've got the experience that that AI is not ready for yet for what we do.
Yeah.
But what we have done is we need a quick test bench for a new version or a new rule that we're doing, so we can actually have, one of the AIs build us out the perfect website for that test bench, and then we can run the test versus having to hand code it, which would take it's done in 5 minutes and you deploy it and you're good to go. Or we'll do stuff like we'll write a piece of code that's really cool that does exactly what we're looking for, and then say, here, optimize this. I want the same functionality going in and out.
Optimizations, proofing,
but I need it to be
feature
faster.
ideas. That's been something we were doing earlier by giving it some code and saying, hey, what are all the feature ideas we're missing that align with our user intent, with our customer avatar, and tell us what are we missing. And it's come up with some great ideas, some concepts we're like, oh, maybe we could do that and apply that faster because now we hadn't quite considered that angle. So those are things that I think are working great. I don't think we completely. I mean, someone has to be at the wheel of something somewhere, right? I mean,
I would like to think. I would like to. Yeah, I mean,
like
somebody's got to be. Otherwise, like if you think about all the science fiction, right, and what's going on, okay, these things get smarter and smarter. They're building themselves, and they're building the next gen of themselves, and they're evolving. And like Elon Musk said the same thing. He's like, "Who's the best surgeon in the world?" Right? Yeah. That surgeon is going to train one of my robots, and as soon as that one robot knows how to do that, they all know how to do it. They all know how to do it. So now, if there's a surgery that one guy specializes in, like I said, I went for open heart surgery, right? The guy I went to, this is the only surgery he does because it's a very, very specialized surgery. It's supposedly the most complex heart surgery that they do is when they fix that because it's such a small area. If he was to do that, and he does that surgery a couple times a week, if he was to do that in front of an AI bot or a robot, that robot can pick up after a handful of times of watching all the different things. As soon as he knows how to do that, he just transfers the conscious over to a million robots. Now, a million robots know how to do that surgery. So cost of surgery goes down. Yeah, I mean, it's foreseeable. Does it ever get there in our lifetime? I don't know. But
when did the uprising happen, right?
it's coming.
I see so many warnings about it. I saw the government picking on different, AI players because they didn't want them involved in their systems. And I get it because of, those technologies learn, they grow, they adapt, they're faster than we are. Their IQ levels are rising exponentially as they continue to learn the different aspects. And at some point, the technology is incapable of stopping other technologies from brute forcing its way in, social engineering its way in, cloning voices to replicate things, and just doing stuff on its own to get access to systems that would be normally difficult once they get access to it. And jokingly, I heard somebody say this, and I almost agree. If you go too far, the only way to stop it is to unplug the internet. Like, just shut the whole freaking thing down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't stop it because they'll be able to move within systems effortlessly. It also reminds me of that movie Sneakers.
I remember that one. Mm-hmm. I always think it was more of The Matrix when they tried to.
Well, there's that too, but the one I was referencing in Sneakers was really where they had a code box with a breakable code that literally went everywhere and anywhere, and it's unstoppable, right? I mean, it was
Yeah.
capable of doing it. But of course, yeah, the matrix, if we live within the technological aspect of this, people are going to want to plug themselves into it. They're going to run to it, not from it. And I guess what you and I are saying here, Rich, is we're willing to run from it to some
Yeah.
degree. I don't want to get plugged into it. Right? I mean, that's what it gets down to. I'm in the business of products because I believe, to me, as I've seen all of this and have a similar history of time frame of evolution, watching all of this come so fast, so much forward that, you know, my watch on my arm is more powerful than the computer I bought for $4,000 in college. And seeing that evolution move as fast as that has, and it's exponentially going faster, I'm like, well, where are the last places they can touch? And to some degree, unless they can figure out a way to capitalize themselves, which they might be able to at some line, or, you know, bring the creative spirit to nature, which I bet they could probably do at some point, the physical product and branding world may be one of the last places they can touch, you know, the physical aspect of it. But then again, they're going to be the manufacturing, and they're going to be on the rails by which we run product. So I know there's inevitability, which is like Mr. Anderson. Everything is inevitable, right? That this will come to some kind of conclusion somewhere down the line. For all of us. I don't know.
It's going to be an interesting time over the next 10 or 20 years.
10 or 20? You give it that long?
I'm curious. Like, if you look at technology 10 or 20 years ago, the advancements, now you have AI advancing faster than we were as humans.
I'd give it 5. Yeah, that's why I was suggesting.
Well, yeah, what does the next 5, 10, 20 years? I mean, I just imagine 20. I can't even fathom it because it's changing so fast.
It's moving and adapting itself, and at speeds we can barely keep up with as humans. So it's going to move very fast.
Because they just work 24/7.
But see, if we set ourselves up, and I think this is where he was going, Musk maybe, is the same way you're setting up autonomous and, you know, aspect of your business, so you can be gone for 3 months and not worry about it. And I'm doing similar things in my businesses to set up systems and automations and operators, so I don't have to be on every, you know, minutia, every detail. That could benefit us if we're in the right place.
Yeah,
the very top of the pyramid, if you will.
Very true.
That's where a lot of the people I think listening to this podcast want to be, who aren't currently. How do they climb up that pyramid, man?
Yeah, they talked about, you know, like the internet was the thing that launched millionaires, you know, and this AI is supposed to launch even more, that like in percentage and scale even more. Yeah. It's just a matter of, you know, people having to learn a new skill. You know, as technology evolves, people just learn new skills and find jobs in different areas. But like I said, there's a lot of different speculation of how far in, and some of it might be science fiction, but you know, science fiction is usually where engineers get a lot of their ideas.
Science prediction.
Somebody who's, they figure out things that are based on, you know, somewhat reality. Yeah. I always wonder, like, okay, I don't know if you're an Isaac Asimov fan, but he built the 3 Laws of Robots, which is in a bunch of movies, and
iRobot and beyond. Yeah.
Yep. And Bicentennial Man and all that. And the question is, are those being put into these robots?
You gotta hope.
If they're doing martial arts, probably not. If they're holding a gun, probably not.
But hey, it's for your benefit.
I just say it. In order to get a benefit, you have to give something up.
Yeah, it's for your safety, right? Because I mean, who wants your son and daughter to go to war? Right. Wouldn't you rather put them, you know, a robot in place? And if you didn't, what kind of human are you?
So now it's robot armies versus robot armies.
It will be. It's drones now. What's to stop it from being robot to robot? I mean, that's an evolution I see of warfare that obviously impacts our cultures, because, you know, it ties into everything all the way back to, you know, to the industrial aspects of our country, production, supply chains, movement of oil, everything we're seeing now. Technology can win until it meets its technology counterpart, and then nobody wins. Yeah, fascinating.
True.
What are you doing to kind of harden your business for the coming year, or change it? What are you adapting? What are you pivoting?
Well, what's interesting is our industry is protecting people against fraudulent visitors to our website. Typically in the ad game, like when you're buying ad space, you know, there's a lot of bots clicking on ads and stuff like that. Yeah. Q3 was a pivotal moment last year because an AI assisted bot came along and got around every fraud solution in the marketplace. Everyone. In fact, we had staff at a affiliate world in Bangkok, and there were 2 companies there that were selling fraudulent traffic that gets around every invalid traffic solution in the marketplace. So they were telling everybody
they were doing that,
and people were buying it.
Oh, wow.
So it goes that way. So what was nice was in Q4 last year, we rolled out an update, And it was such a massive update. It gives us insight to what could happen over the next several years. And we already have the defenses built to help us protect that from what we can understand. Like that could change tomorrow, right? You just never know. But that's our job.
AI competition, basically.
That's our job, is to stay on top of these things and
Yeah.
keep an eye on it and keep our customers protected. As long as we're protecting our customers, they'll stay with us. We stop protecting them, they go somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's going to change even down to just, registering or onboarding a domain in Cloudflare now asks you 3 different options for how you want to protect against bots. These are all systems that everyone continues to keep updating. The good and the bad, the things that want to be done and the people who don't want to do it. And it's always a battle. It's been that way since the internet, right?
Yeah.
Came online, that, somebody's doing something nefarious and someone else is trying to stop it. And the worst thing we had to deal with before was DDoS attacks. On some of those systems, and now we're dealing with complete AI solutions and tactics. I think that's been most recently taking down some of the web, off and on in different locations. Some of this cyber control stuff. Yeah, we've had Amazon down for 4 hours the other day. That's not heard of very often. They lose $80 million an hour when that goes down. Cost us an entire day on all of our products. That was super awesome. And Shopify went down on Monday again for the second time in like 3 weeks. So somebody keeps poking holes and all of these technical solutions, and we're going to have more AI to fight more AI. So it's only going to be more interesting. And you're on the front lines of that in terms of the cybersecurity and bot detection for advertising. That's advertising is growing and tremendously. Is there a platform you don't work with, or are you across the board anywhere it
Across
clicks?
the board, doesn't matter wherever someone's getting. And we even have protection for clients that, just their user protection or their e-commerce websites. Should I charge this credit card? Should I allow this person to fill out a form? Should I let this person log into my system? Because we do everything in real time, so we're able to help people identify that before the damage is done. So that's what we've been facing and fighting this whole time. So it's been a very useful product for a lot of companies. We get a lot of great feedback from people. So
well, that is cutting edge, guys. If you're listening to this and I think if you're in the cybersecurity world, you better be doing some work to learn about what's going on. If you're in the business world, take a note. If health or sickness is something you have to deal with, could you step away from your business for 3 months? And obviously stay on top of anything AI in your world, in your life, whatever business vertical you're in, because it's going to change. It's going to adapt. Rich understands it at the ground level. I get it as well. So hopefully you guys listening to this will also get it. So what are some of the things they should be doing, Rich, now that they kind of got the little bit of scare factor in them? What's the good news?
Well, let me give them one more scare factor. I had the numbers for 2024. So 2024, as a global society, we spent over $700 billion in digital marketing. It's the first year that digital marketing exceeded traditional marketing. Based on our conservative estimate, 140 billion was stolen by fraudsters.
Ouch.
So it's not a question of if I have a fraud issue. It's a question of how much of a fraud issue do I have. So I used to be able to give tips like on things you can do to try to avoid some of the stuff that's out there. At this point, there's no tip. You need a solution. Some people decide they want to try to build it in-house. We try to say it's a lot cheaper and more cost effective to license us than to obviously build it yourself. Because we tell people, if you're going to build it, you need a couple engineers dedicated to this project, because it's going to take that type of brain power to make this work. You're going to need some decent massive data lake so you can store a lot of data and rummage through that looking for anomalies, and then build anomaly detection around that. And it takes time.
Yeah.
But again, those clients only have access to their data. The difference with a company like us is we have access to hundreds of clients' data. So we're seeing data coming from every channel out in the marketplace, and our cost of service is very, very inexpensive in comparison to the cost of even just one employee. So again, I used to be able to give some tips and tricks, but those tips and tricks don't work anymore. You really need a solution. If you're going to be out there advertising and spending any decent amount of money, you really need to know what you're dealing with and have some type of solution there protecting you.
Absolutely. And to clarify, when you say media buying, for those that are listening, you're talking about Google Ads, paid traffic, Meta, anywhere
Google,
you buy traffic.
Search, social, programmatic, TV, connected TV, email marketing, lead generation, affiliate marketing. You name the channel, there's fraud in every channel. I'll give you an example, like search and social, 10 to 15% fraud. If you're buying on affiliate marketing or programmatic, it's anywhere from 45 to 50% fraud. So, and everything between. So depending on the mix of buys through those channels, will give you a rough estimate of approximately how much money you're losing to fraud. Then it comes down to, okay, I get the averages. I understand what's going on. What do I have? And that's when we invite people to our network to do a free traffic quality assessment. Find out exactly how much fraud you're dealing with, where it's coming from, where it's going, and then how you can defend against it. And that's pretty much what we do for a lot of people, just so they have a sanity check. Hey,
Yeah. No,
I
that's great.
think I got systems in place. I think it's working. Let's get a sanity check and find out.
Well, for those of you buying any amount of media, on your channels, whether you're lead or consulting or, lead generation, or you're building e-com stores and, sending it to Shopify or other places, I would definitely say get an audit. Make sure you check out your traffic, see what you know. It's always good to know what you don't know and try to figure it out so that you can take an opportunity to not be scammed or abused by the technology, as we've been talking about on this channel, which can obviously do that at speeds even faster and more intelligent than you can. So I would incorporate that into our conversation and make sure you guys go check that out, show notes and everything else out, see what Rich is doing at his team. Go get a free audit. All worst you can do is find out what it's costing you, and then maybe it makes sense to make a change. Rich, thanks for coming on and sharing a good word, brother.
I appreciate you having me. It was a fun conversation today.
Yeah, dude. Anything we didn't cover you wanted to chat about?
No, you got a bunch of different unique stuff out of me than most hosts, which I appreciate.
Well, there you go.
I like talking about different things and keeping it fresh. So I enjoyed it.
Well, I appreciate you, man. I'm sure we can keep chatting, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And for everybody that's listening, leave your comments or snide remarks. Help it push this out to big tech. And if somebody is running traffic and needs help, send them on this podcast. Have them check it out. And as we say at the end of every podcast, remember to do something imperfectly, and something perfect will happen along the way. Catch you guys on the next episode.